No, you're not supposed to face down. You gotta sit up. There we go. There. That's perfect. Now they can see you. Ready? No?
I don't know if I'm ready.
How about that spot? Are you ready?
Okay, I guess we can try that.
Don't look too tense. Gonna try to relax. You look like 20 years younger.
What did you do? Put a filter on it?
No, you just look 20 years younger. I think it's you're missing the beard. It's gonna make you look younger.
Oh.
You can move your lips to talk.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well then just
Tell me
don't.
how I live.
Okay, so if someone was to describe you, how would they describe you? Like, what would they say about you?
I don't know. That's
Give me one word.
one word.
Yeah, one word to describe you.
One word to describe me.
Yeah,
Myself.
yourself. That's not a word to describe you.
One word describes me.
Oh my, you're ridiculous. Okay, anyways.
I don't know. I mean, I guess that's part of my life. I'm dedicated, I guess. I don't know.
You don't think you're dedicated? You don't know if you're dedicated?
I don't know. I try and always think of the most advanced and best answers, and I can't always,
I think dedicated is good. You've been very dedicated to your fast for the past 20 days. So I'd say that's pretty dedicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've done it several times now. That's dedication. And it's dedicated to me. Tell us about how you got to Missouri from Washington. How did God bring you here?
In a car.
What led you guys here?
My parents were running a ministry, and they needed a place to grow, a place where there was easier laws to comply with, and a place where there was cheap land. And Missouri fit all of those points, and God brought us down here to the perfect place for the ministry to thrive.
So, what was the difference in the ministry thriving back in Washington that you guys did differently out here, that you were able to do differently out here because of the move?
Well, just the fact that we didn't have as much difficulty with government oversight of, like, various points of how we interacted and chose to deal with certain issues that the students would have when they would come, that we could do it from a more biblical perspective as opposed to being from a government perspective, a secular perspective, going with a more Christian perspective. Yeah.
Okay. What is your dream job and why?
You're asking me all the hard questions.
I used to ask you these hard questions all the time when we were dating. I loved asking them.
My dream job. I don't know if it would be a job. It would be just doing what I do and sharing the messages that God gives me with people to encourage them and help them to grow spiritually and in it help people to go deeper in their walk with God. That's it.
So, what has God been speaking to you about your future job recently?
He's made it perfectly clear that it's time for me to do something different, and that I need to be walking in that direction and in that way to accomplish the tasks that he puts before me as he puts them before me.
So, do you know what the job that he has for you to do?
No.
So, what was the reason for doing the 40-day fast?
I could sense God was bringing the winds of change along, and I also like to take care of the first and last when it comes with spiritual. So part of it was being that this is I'm coming up on my birthday. I'm fasting in the lead up to that, to end this year of my life with a fast that will help the new year of life be better, to be more, or to start out closer to God, ending one year closer to start out the next year even closer, and progress forward with that work. But also, just in general, the year 2020 has been quite a crazy year, and I think it needs more prayer than every other year combined so far in my lifetime. And there's a lot of things that are going on that need fasting and prayer from my perspective and for my part. So I'm exercising the faith that God has given me to do the things which that faith leads me to do.
So, did you correlate the two when you decided to make a 40-day fast and what age you were going to be turning? Did you think about Jesus and how he fasted right before going into ministry for his father?
What does the age have to do with any of that?
No, that's what I did. I said, did you think of that beforehand? Because remember when you said you wanted to do a 40-day fast? I said, how old was Jesus when he started his ministry?
He was 30.
I thought he was older.
No.
Oh. But he went to 40-day fast before starting.
Yeah. He went on a 40-day fast before starting. The Apostle Paul went on a 40-day fast before he went back to the church at Antioch and served for another, I don't know how many years. I don't remember all of this stuff from my Bible training, but yeah. There's not a lot of 40-day fasts. I mean, Moses was in Pharaoh's house for 40 years. Moses was in the wilderness for 40 years, learning stuff, and then he led the children of Israel for 40 years. So there's a lot of that, and the children of Israel spent 40 years wandering in circles. So 40 days fast, I'm still a couple years from 40 years old, so.
For you to like bugs.
There's mosquito flying around.
Oh, you released it. I saw it come back over here.
Yeah, I know. It seemed like it was dead. I was going to squish him and he got away.
So, have you noticed God work in other fasts that you've done? Like how he worked in them? What the last one?
God has always worked in every fast. He brings forth good fruit from my time with him. There's always blessing. There's always provision, guidance, clarity of focus, and a general sense that things are better. Life is simpler and more straightforward when I'm fasting. And I've never seen God not work through a fast, unless the fast was not, and I'm not talking about my fast necessarily, just people's fast. People who will fast, but it's more of a diet than a fast. They don't spend time with God, then the fast is fruitless when it comes to that. But when you spend the time with God and you use that hunger to remind your spirit of its need and its hunger for God and righteousness, then you are continually being brought back to that place of worship and communication with God that allows for you to see God work and to be positioned to receive the blessings that God is wanting to pour out on all of his creation through you.
So, how has the past 20 days of fasting, has God spoken to you?
I don't know that he's spoken to me during this fast time per se. He has moved things. Things have moved this time, I would say, more than he's spoken to me. He has opened and closed doors. He's clarified things that he's spoken to me in the past, I believe, by the circumstances of life around me. And it allows for me to achieve, to feel better about the goals that I'm looking at achieving now, helping me to get rid of the excess weight and to see the path forward better as I continue to exercise the faith which he spoke to me in the past, in a previous fast, of trusting him for everything that I have and not striving so hard from my own two hands to make my way forward and secure, but to rely on him in what, if it wasn't for him, would only be able to be classified as crazy. The way my grandpa would go to the airport on occasion. A couple of times he went to an airport as a missionary with no money, and God provided the exact amount of the airfare for him and his family to get out of where they were, to get to the next place. And to know these stories and to marvel at God's provision is one thing, but to trust him is a completely different thing, particularly when I'm not doing a ministry in that level, but I'm employed or have been employed, and trusting him to provide whilst I'm employed is a different concept to me that was difficult to get my head around, because it seems obvious that those that live of the gospel are paid of it, and God provides for them in miraculous ways to complete the mission and the task that he has for them, whereas I have not been doing ministry on that way, and yet for him to trust him in that way seemed almost a lack of initiative on my part to work for every penny that I have, everything that I make, to toil in that way. And it was causing me to lose sight of God and focus on the lack of money that I had, the lack of resource that I had to do the things that I wanted to do, and that I felt God was wanting me to do, because I was trying to earn them all on my own without trusting Him for those resources that he provided for my grandpa and for my dad in the ministry. That to trust Him in that way, it was just a difficult and crazy aspect to me to do when I'm able and employed to see Him provide for all of my needs, and not be concerned about money, but be concerned with the spiritual health of my family and myself, and take care of those things first. Take care of the first things first, which is family and faith. To allow that to be first and foremost, and then to allow Him to move me maybe towards more ministry vocationally, is something that I have never really considered. I always considered paying my own way by my own work, and then ministering on the side from that as a lay minister, not as opposed to a full-time vocational minister. And in more recent times, leading up to this fast, I felt like He was pointing me toward looking into more of a vocational ministry and ministering from that, which is something that I wasn't always necessarily opposed to, but I wasn't sure that's where God was taking me, to do it in that way. So
I don't have any more questions.
yeah.
Anything else you would like to share?
No, not right now.
Mm-hmm.
I need time
Yeah.
to think
Yes.
through my own thoughts, but
You did good. You started rambling to the point you got your thoughts out.
well, it takes a while.
Yeah. So, are you planning on starting your own channel? Talking about...
Of course, I'm planning on starting my own.
When's
channel.
that?
In about 10 minutes.
Oh, I hope so.
Maybe an hour.
Yes. Well, if you like Isaac's thoughts, check out his channel. Try and link it when we get it started. All right. Anything to say? Close?
That's all.
How about
folks.
awkward wave?
That's all.
That's all?
That's all I'm going to say.
That's all you're going to say.